If you're waiting for someone to come and hand you the life you want, let me save you some time. That person isn't coming. The truth is, your life doesn't change when your boss changes. Your life doesn't change when the government changes. Your life changes when you change. It all begins with ownership, not partial ownership, full control. You see, the day you decide that you're responsible for your future, regardless of your past, that's the day everything shifts. Not gradually, instantly. Control isn't about dominating circumstances. It's about mastering decisions. It's waking up each morning and saying, I run this. I decide the direction. I decide the pace. Some people say, but I can't control everything. And they're right. But here's the catch. You don't need to control everything. You just need to control yourself. Control your attitude. Control your calendar. Control your habits. Control your associations. Control your thoughts. Because what you don't control controls you. Too many people major in minor things. They focus on gossip while their goals collect dust. They scroll endlessly while their vision fades silently. And years later, they ask, what happened? What happened is, they handed over control one distraction at a time. Here's a better way. Design your life. Don't just accept it. Don't just survive it. Build it, shape it, and claim it. Take full control of your time, because wasted minutes turn into wasted months. Take control of your standards, because your life will never exceed them. Take control of your circle, because proximity is power. Surround yourself with people who make you sharper, not smaller. You don't need permission to rise. You just need a decision. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary, intentionality. So today, choose intentional living. Live by vision, not by default. Live by design, not by reaction. Because when you take full control of your life, you don't just exist. You lead, you grow, you thrive. Your life changes when you change. Not when the calendar flips to a new year. Not when someone gives you a second chance. Not when circumstances magically align. But when you decide to become someone different. When you shift your mindset, when you upgrade your discipline, when you stop waiting and start building, everything begins with a decision, a moment where you say, this is no longer acceptable. This version of me is no longer enough. That's the spark. That's where momentum begins, not in the world outside, but in the world within. You can't control the wind, but you can set the sail. You can't choose the weather, but you can pack for the storm. The change that matters most is not around you. It's asterisk in asterisk you. When you grow, your problems shrink. When you change, your perspective transforms. When you rise, the world feels different. Not because it changed, but because you did. Every new level of life demands a new level of you. You can't bring the same excuses into a better future. You can't drag the same habits into a higher destiny. At some point, you either evolve or repeat. Change is uncomfortable, yes, but so is staying stuck. So is living a life that doesn't excite you. So is pretending you're fine when you know you're made for more. And here's the good news, you don't have to leap a mountain in a day. Real change doesn't scream. It whispers, it builds, it compounds. Start small, start messy. But start read the book, take the walk, make the call, break the habit, rewrite the story. And as you change, your environment changes. Your energy shifts, your opportunities multiply, your clarity deepens. Why? Because life mirrors your internal world. And when you upgrade that world, everything else follows. Your life changes when you change. Not before, not later, now. Taking full control starts with taking full responsibility. You can't lead a life you won't own. You can't fix what you constantly blame. And you can't rise if you keep pointing down at others. The moment you decide that everything in your life is your responsibility, you unlock a new kind of power, not the kind that waits, but the kind that builds, directs, and changes course. Responsibility isn't about fault. It's about ownership. It's standing up and saying, this may not be my doing, but it asterisk is asterisk my decision what happens next. It's easy to blame, easy to say, if only they supported me, if only life was fair, if only I had better luck. But the truth is, if only, is the language of limitation. Responsibility is the language of freedom, because the second you take it all in, the second you stop outsourcing your outcomes, that's when your growth begins. That's when your mindset shifts from victim to creator. That's when your energy shifts from exhausted to focused. That's when your days stop happening asterisk to asterisk you, and start being shaped asterisk by asterisk you. You stop reacting. You start designing. You stop waiting for opportunity. You begin preparing for it. Taking responsibility is not a burden. It's your liberation, because it means your future is in your hands, not in someone else's approval, not in your past's permission, not in life handing you better circumstances. It's you. It's always been you. No more waiting. No more wishing. No more when things calm down. Now, responsibility says, if I want better, I become better. If I want peace, I build peace. If I want results, I show up. If I fall, I get up. Because life doesn't reward intentions. It rewards decisions. And the greatest decision you'll ever make is to take full responsibility for your mindset, your habits, your energy, your circle, your effort, and your outcomes. You don't control the world, but you do control your focus. You do control your reactions. You do control what you do with what you've been given. And once you master that, you're no longer waiting for change. You asterisk are asterisk the change. Because taking full control always starts with taking full responsibility. You don't need to control everything, just yourself. That one truth can change everything. So many people spend their energy trying to manage what's outside, when the real power lies in mastering what's inside. You can't control the weather, you can't control other people, you can't control timing, traffic, or the twists and turns of life, but you can control your response, you can control your preparation. You can control your attitude, your effort, your discipline, and when you learn to control yourself, life becomes far less chaotic. Because you stop depending on perfect conditions. You stop waiting for everything to align before you take action. You stop blaming others when things go wrong. You stop chasing peace from external approval. Peace, growth, and direction all begin with self-mastery, because when you know how to manage your thoughts, your emotions don't run your life. When you know how to stay grounded, the world's storms don't throw you off course. It's not about controlling outcomes. It's about controlling your process, your decisions, your habits, your pace, your vision. The world can shake, but if you're rooted, you won't break. People can disappoint you, but if you lead yourself well, you won't fold. The path can twist, but if your focus is strong, you won't lose your way. You don't need to fix everyone. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to choose your actions wisely and your reactions with clarity. That's where your influence begins. That's how real strength shows up, not in how loud you get, but in how calm you stay. You might not control what shows up today, but you control how you show up. And that choice, repeated daily, becomes the foundation of your life. Because everything you want, consistency, progress, growth, peace, it starts with you. Not with controlling others, not with waiting for ideal situations, but with leading yourself from the inside out. You don't need to control everything, just the one thing that determines everything else. You control your habits, attitude, and associations, because those three things shape more of your life than almost anything else. You can have big dreams, powerful goals, and a clear vision, but if your habits don't support them, they'll stay locked in your imagination. Every day, your habits either push you forward or pull you back. They're not just routines. They're systems. They're the architecture of your results. Success isn't built in a single moment. It's built in the quiet consistency of what you do when no one's watching. It's the choice to show up when it's easier to stay comfortable. It's the decision to finish what you started, even when motivation fades. And while habits shape your progress, your attitude shapes your experience. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you interpret it. You can choose optimism over cynicism, gratitude over complaint, growth over defeat. Attitude doesn't make problems disappear, but it gives you the strength to rise above them. It keeps your mind clear when life gets cloudy. It reminds you that every setback is a setup for a stronger return. With the right attitude, you turn obstacles into lessons, delays into preparation, and pressure into progress. But even strong habits and a positive attitude can be drained if your environment is toxic. That's where associations come in. The people you surround yourself with are either your anchors or your wings. They either challenge you or drain you. They either inspire action or enable excuses. If you're around those who settle, you'll shrink to fit in. If you're around those who stretch, you'll grow to rise up. Protect your circle like your life depends on it, because it does. Energy is contagious. So is mindset. So is mediocrity. Choose relationships that sharpen your focus. Seek conversations that stretch your thinking. And walk away from anything that costs you your peace or your purpose. Your future is hidden in your patterns. Your growth is locked inside your consistency. And your next level is already waiting, but it will only meet the version of you who takes control of the things that matter most. Control your habits, control your attitude, control your associations, because once those are aligned, everything else begins to follow. If you don't run your life, something else will. Life doesn't stay neutral. If you're not in the driver's seat, you're in the passenger seat, and someone or something else is holding the wheel. It could be distraction. It could be doubt. It could be fear. It could be other people's opinions. But if you don't choose the direction, you don't choose the destination. Every day, your life is being shaped. The question is, by who? If you don't take control of your schedule, you'll spend your time fulfilling other people's priorities. If you don't define your values, you'll start living by someone else's standards. If you don't clarify your vision, you'll end up following someone else's path. And before you know it, months pass, years pass. And you realize you've been busy, but not intentional, active, but not aligned, moving, but not progressing. Running your life doesn't mean controlling everything. It means deciding what matters. It means designing your days around your purpose, not pressure. It means being proactive with your time, your thoughts, and your choices. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be responsible for where you're going. You just have to be awake at the wheel. Focused, intentional, present, because the world is full of noise, endless opinions, constant demands. If you don't anchor yourself, you'll be pulled in every direction but your own. You'll find yourself saying yes when you should say no. You'll find yourself surviving instead of building. You'll find yourself wondering how you ended up somewhere you never wanted to be. But that's not your story. Not if you choose differently. Not if you wake up to the fact that this life is asterisk, yours asterisk. Your voice, your power, your responsibility. You were never meant to drift. You were built to direct, to choose, to lead, to grow, to rise. You can't afford to give the steering wheel to fear, to doubt. To the past, to people who don't understand your vision, this is your life. No one can run it better than you, but you have to show up for it, not one day, every day. If you don't run your life, something else will. And it won't care about your dreams the way you do. People often waste time on distractions instead of their destiny, not because they don't have potential, not because they don't have dreams, but because they're caught in a cycle of noise. The phone buzzes, the scroll begins, minutes turn into hours, and hours turn into days, all while purpose waits in silence. It's not that people don't want more. It's that they're too busy looking down to look ahead. They're drowning in notifications, but starving for clarity. Distraction is comfortable. It asks nothing from you. It keeps you entertained, but it robs you silently, bit by bit, moment by moment. Destiny, on the other hand, demands attention. It requires focus, it calls for sacrifice, and most of all, it waits for you to say, "I'm ready." But how can you step into what you were born to do if your time is consumed by things that don't matter? We don't run out of time, we waste it on drama, on comparison, on temporary escapes from permanent potential, and then we wonder why we feel stuck, why we feel restless, why something feels missing. What's missing isn't the opportunity, it's the focus. It's the decision to look up, to unplug from what drains you and plug into what drives you. You were not created to binge away your brilliance. You were not designed to be constantly available but spiritually absent. You were made for more, but more won't chase you down. You have to choose it. You have to protect your time like your purpose depends on it, because it does. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you say no to your next level. You say no to your goals, to your growth, to the version of you that's trying to emerge. So look around. Ask yourself, what am I feeding? My purpose or my patterns? My vision or my vices? Every day is a seed. You can plant it in distraction, or you can plant it in discipline. One leads to regret. The other leads to reward. People often waste time on distractions instead of their destiny, but you don't have to. You can choose differently. You can live with focus, with fire, with full awareness of what's at stake. Raise your standards. Your life rises with them. Everything in your life reflects what you're willing to tolerate. What you accept becomes your normal, and what you allow continues. When your standards are low, you settle for less than you deserve. You stay in places that drain you. You entertain people who don't respect you. You put off the work that could change your life. But when you raise your standards, everything shifts. You start expecting more from yourself. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You stop waiting for motivation and start showing up with discipline. Your standards are not about being perfect. They're about being intentional. They're about refusing to live on autopilot. They're about building a life that matches your values, your purpose, and your vision. Raise your standard of how you speak to yourself. Raise your standard of how you show up. Raise your standard of how you treat your body, your time, and your goals. When your standards go up, your boundaries get stronger. You no longer give energy to people who don't bring peace. You no longer chase things that don't align with your future. You stop lowering your light to keep others comfortable. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about being better than you used to be. It's about deciding that your future deserves more than your past patterns. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Growth always does. But that discomfort is where transformation begins. Because when you raise the bar, you force yourself to rise to meet it. You start waking up with purpose. You start making choices that match your identity, not your insecurity. You don't chase things anymore. You attract them by the person you're becoming. The higher your standard, the clearer your decisions. You no longer ask, is this good enough? You ask, does this reflect who I'm becoming? You stop settling for average. You stop living reactive. You stop saying yes to what drains you. Your life is a reflection of what you demand from it. So raise the demand, raise the expectation, raise the standard, because when your standard for effort rises, your results follow. When your standard for mindset rises, your peace deepens. When your standard for relationships rises, your environment transforms. Raise your standards. Your life rises with them. Choose your circle wisely. Proximity influences potential. Who you spend time with shapes who you become. Energy is contagious. Mindsets are transferable, and the people closest to you are either pushing you forward or pulling you back. If you walk with people who dream big, you begin to see the world as full of possibility. If you walk with people who complain and settle, you start to believe that life is meant to be endured, not designed. The people in your circle matter more than you think. Their habits rub off. Their standards influence your own. Their conversations fill your mind with either purpose or noise, Look around. Who are you letting into your atmosphere? Who are you giving your time, your trust, and your energy to? Not everyone deserves front row access to your life. Some people are only meant to watch from a distance, not because you're better than them, but because you're focused on growing. And not everyone grows with you. You need people who challenge you, who call you higher, who don't let you settle into your comfort zone. You need people who speak life when the journey gets heavy, who remind you of your purpose when you start to forget, who see the greatness in you even before you do. The wrong circle will drain your drive. They'll distract you from your goals. They'll normalize mediocrity and criticize ambition. But the right circle, they'll sharpen your vision. They'll amplify your discipline. They'll inspire your growth just by the way they live. It's not about surrounding yourself with perfect people. It's about surrounding yourself with intentional people. People who are going somewhere. People who care more about truth than comfort. People who celebrate your wins and hold you accountable when you drift. Because iron sharpens iron, and potential needs pressure to rise. Sometimes the breakthrough you need isn't in a book. It's not in a podcast. It's not even in a plan. It's in a person, one relationship, one conversation, one example of what's possible. You were never meant to do life alone, but you were also never meant to walk with people who keep you small. Choose your circle with the same intention you use to choose your future. Because they're connected. Where you go depends on who you're with. Choose your circle wisely. Proximity influences potential. Live intentionally, not by default or reaction. Most people don't design their life. They drift through it, reacting to whatever shows up, responding to noise, following patterns they never questioned. They wake up, rush through their day, check the boxes, repeat the routine, and wonder why nothing feels different. But intention changes everything. When you live intentionally, you don't just let time happen. You direct it. You don't just hope for growth. You pursue it. You don't just respond to life. You lead it. Living by default is passive. It says whatever happens, happens. It hands your power to the world, to circumstances, to other people's choices. Living by reaction is exhausting. It means you're always behind, always fixing, never creating. Always managing crisis instead of building peace. But living intentionally is different. It's about waking up with purpose. It's about knowing what matters and protecting it. It's about choosing your focus instead of letting it be hijacked. You don't have to control everything. You just have to stop letting everything control you. Ask yourself, what do I want from this day, from this year, from this life? What do I value? What am I building? What am I tolerating that doesn't belong? Intentional living requires awareness. It requires honesty. It requires a willingness to pause and ask hard questions. Not just once, but often. Because distraction will always try to pull you off course. Comfort will always try to keep you where you are. And urgency will always try to make everything feel important, even when it's not. When you live with intention, you start to simplify. You stop chasing what doesn't fit. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand. You stop reacting to pressure and start responding to purpose. You create space for what matters. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You say no with confidence and yes with clarity. You plan your time not just to be busy, but to be effective, to be present, to be fulfilled. Intentional living doesn't mean every moment is perfect. It means every moment is aligned, even when it's messy, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, because deep down you know where you're going, and more importantly, you know who you're becoming. Live intentionally, not by default or reaction. The power to lead your life is already yours. Just decide. It's not out there waiting for you to find it. It's not locked behind some secret door. It's not given to the lucky or the gifted. It's already inside you right now. You have everything you need to take charge, to make decisions, to set your course, and to steer your own ship. The problem is not a lack of power, it's a lack of decision. You wait for the perfect moment. You wait for the perfect plan, you wait for permission from others, but those are just excuses wrapped in delay. The truth is, power belongs to the one who decides. Power belongs to the one who takes ownership. Power belongs to the one who says, enough waiting, enough hesitation, I will lead my life. When you decide, everything changes. Your mindset shifts from victim to victor. Your energy shifts from passive to active. Your future shifts from uncertain to intentional. You don't have to be ready to start. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to decide. Decide to show up every day. Decide to learn, even when it's hard. Decide to fail, but fail forward. Decide to say no to distractions. Decide to say yes to growth. Decision is the doorway to action. Action is the doorway to progress. And progress is the doorway to transformation. You are not a passenger in your own life. You are the pilot, the captain, the one who charts the course. It's easy to blame circumstances. It's easy to blame others. It's easy to feel powerless. But real power comes from within, from the choices you make, from the decisions you refuse to delay. So don't wait for confidence to find you. Create it by deciding. Don't wait for clarity to come knocking. Create it by moving forward. The power to lead your life is already yours. It's been with you all along. You just have to claim it. You just have to decide. When you do, you'll find a strength you didn't know you had. You'll find a focus that drives you past obstacles. You'll find a peace that no circumstance can shake. Because leadership starts inside, with a choice, a commitment, a decision. So decide today. Decide now. Lead your life, because the power is already yours. And remember, the moment you decide to lead your life is the moment everything begins to change. No more waiting for the perfect time. No more relying on others to steer your course. The power has always been in your hands. So take it, own it, lead with courage and conviction. Your life is waiting for you to step up, and when you do, there's no limit to what you can achieve.